Hey guys, welcome back to another foundation road test. Today I'm looking at Maybelline Superstay Full Coverage Foundation. I filmed my application and filmed my post-application thoughts and took the picture and did all that stuff and was heading out the door and realized I never did an intro. What is that? I'm a little disheveled today. I feel like my hair is kind of all over the place, so just ignore that. I have been waiting to get the lighter shade of this to do this review, but I finally just was impatient and decided to go ahead and do it. I am in the shade 128 in this, which I think is a hair too dark. I made it work. I brought it down on my neck. I feel like I need to mix it with shade 120 or just use shade 120, but it's on the way. It's not to me, but my curiosity got the better of me. I wanted to go ahead and look at it for you guys. I know you've been asking. The link to all my foundation shade matches is down below. I wear 128 in the Fit Me Matte and Poreless, so if you wear my shade, the 128 in the Superstay is a hair darker than 128 in Matte and Poreless. I do show you that in the application. If you are not familiar with my foundation road test, I do look at foundations more than just a day so that I can see how they apply best and wear best for me. I use different powders, different primers, different application methods to give you guys a good look at how it wears on my over 40 combination oily skin. So I'm going to get into what they say about this foundation. They say that it gives you 24-hour wear with concentrated coverage and a flawless finish that doesn't fade or shift all day long. It says it's lightweight yet has high impact coverage that glides onto skin for a flawless makeup finish that lasts all day. It is oil free, it doesn't clog pores, and it's dermatologist tested. And it does say that you can apply it with fingertips, a sponge, or a Maybelline blender. I don't have a Maybelline blender. I use the L'Oreal sponge. Sorry, Maybelline. I'm looking at the ingredient list. It does have some cones and some water. I don't see any alcohol in it at all. So let's get started with the application, and I think that's all you need to know. Oh, no, it's not. I do end up setting this with the MAC Patrick Star powder. I think if you don't have that, any kind of just good setting powder that you normally use will work. I think that's pretty much it, and we can get into the application. I already put my primer on my face. It's the Hourglass Veil. Can I turn this around the right way? Mineral primer. I love this stuff. This is my baseline primer. I will, of course, try it with others as I try this foundation out. I don't have anything outstanding on my face that I need to cover except what you're probably noticing, this red Rudolph spot on my nose. I don't know what it is. I have not been eating well, and when I don't eat well, my rosacea flares up, but I've never had anything flare up on my nose. I don't know if I reacted to something. I did use a couple of weird products in January that I did react to. It's looking better, believe it or not, but this is in 2 foundation road tests. You get to see how things cover this sucker up. This is what the bottle looks like. The lid is very plasticky. It's not a nice, expensive plastic pump. It is kind of chintzy looking, if you ask me. I am in shade 128, which I think I already told you guys. You do get a decent amount out with one pump. This is my first day using this, so it is pretty darn thick. I almost didn't do this review because this shade is probably going to be too dark for me. I have a lighter shade on the way. This is the Matte and Poreless in 128. And this is the Superstay in 128. You can see the shade difference. I'm using a beauty blender today. I am going to be applying it with a brush on another day, and I'll let you know how that goes. But for now, I'm just going to put a little bit on this beauty blender and get started in sections on my face. That's how I usually apply full coverage foundation so that they don't set too quickly on my face. And yes, it is too dark, so I will have to bring it down on my neck and use some bronzer. I also prefer to start out with less foundation than I think I'm gonna need and build, especially with full coverage foundations, because you get a more natural look and you may need less than you think you do. If you guys have watched my Estee Lauder Double Wear, how to apply it without looking cakey video, you'll see I do that there too. Works really well. Okay, so here's half my face done, half not done. Here is my nose spot, and here's the sunspot over here. I really didn't try to cover this too much. I may not have gotten close enough. I don't think I did, but I didn't use much product at all. So I'm gonna do the other half of my face, and then I'm gonna go back in and layer. I think it gives a nice natural look right off the bat. If you want a medium to full coverage, you can certainly get that and just use spot concealer where you need it. I don't think that it looks unnatural at all. I mean, I do need to match my neck. I haven't brought it down there yet, but this kind of reminds me maybe of Estee Lauder Double Wear and kind of the matte and poreless in a way. I was expecting it to look more mask-like than it does, for sure. I'm gonna layer in spots in areas and bring it down on my neck a little bit. I am actually more impressed than I thought I would be. I think I got it down my neck where I needed to. I feel like this has really nice, not super matte, not masky looking coverage. I like it. I like it so far. Okay, so I'm scary close now. I don't have concealer on my face at all. You can still see that red spot. I don't know, I almost think you can see it because I'm so close to you. I think in real life, it's really not noticeable unless you're looking for it. My pores look really good. It's not looking funky in any lines or anything like that. Of course, I did just put it on. It's full coverage enough for me to be able to wear on a daily basis and not look like I'm wearing a mask. I like it, and I will be right back with my makeup on so you can see what the finished product looks like, and then I'll check in throughout the day. I'm happy with it. I ended up not using concealer because I'm also doing an under eye video at the same time, and by the time I set my face, I just completely forgot to use concealer. That said, I don't think this is a full coverage foundation because of the fact that you can still see some of my little imperfections. It didn't completely cover my sunspots, you know, in this red spot, but I didn't really concentrate it there. I'm okay with that. I like the fact that, you know, I mean, it blurred that enough to where I'm okay with it. It blurred this out enough. I don't mind seeing a little bit of my skin through my foundation. I would say it's more of a full medium coverage foundation, and I'm good with that because I can wear this on a daily basis. And I was able to blend this down to my neck and have it look pretty good despite being a hair too deep for me. I also really like what it's doing for my pores. I think it looks really good. It's wearable, yet it covers well. I am shocked that I didn't need concealer on this guy right here on my nose. Absolutely shocked. I'm gonna wear this throughout the day. I will check in. I already took some flash photography, so I'll have all that in the summary at the end. We're good to go. Okay, the bathroom lighting check-in, which is always super flattering, but that's where I always end up at the end of the day. I forgot to look at myself or check in, and it is right past the 9-hour mark. I have not touched up my face at all. That said, I think the bathroom lighting makes it look more shiny than it actually is. I'm not seeing a lot of shine, and it's not gathering in any lines either. I just moved it a little bit closer so you can see, but my makeup looks really good. It still looks nice on the skin. I still have all my products on my face. There's no settling in any lines. Nothing has come off. Nothing is caking up or settling into pores. Looks good. I'm actually quite impressed. I haven't heard anyone else review this foundation, so I don't know what others' experiences have been, but so far mine is good. I applied it today with a brush, and I really like it. This might be my favorite way to apply it. I think it looks really good applied with a brush, and I have it on with Dr. Brandt's Luminizing Primer. I'm really liking it today. I will report back in. I've had it on for about an hour so far, and I think it looks really nice. I like the coverage, I like the finish. We'll see how it goes today. It's been a little over 4 hours. I have not touched up or blotted or anything at all. I am getting very shiny, but not greasy shiny. It's just a very luminous shine. I don't hate it though. I do want to blot and touch up with powder. I'm going to in a minute. I will say that the makeup is still on my face very well. So I'm pleased with how it looks, but it is very shiny. I do have to touch up with it, which you know, it's pretty normal if you have oily combination skin. So as long as I like the look and it's not wearing down or anything, it's okay. But the day's only half over. I really dislike doing check-ins in my bathroom because the lighting is terrible and I always feel like it makes me look red in places I really don't look red in. I'm looking in the mirror behind you. I don't see any redness around here or here, but I see it in my phone and it's just not there. So I feel like it looks better in person than it actually looks on my phone. So just keep that in mind. It's been exactly 12 hours since I started applying the foundation. I think it's worn really well for a 12-hour day. I blotted and touched up twice, once at the 4-hour mark, again at around the 8-hour mark, and then I blotted with a tissue maybe about 30 minutes ago. I don't think I really needed to, I just did. But it's not wearing away weirdly at all. It's not settling into fine lines. I'm zooming in. I don't feel like it's showing anything odd on my face at all. I feel like I may have some blush fading, but that's because of the blush. I was testing out a new blush today. The foundation is still on my face. I rubbed my nose a little bit when I was blowing it, so that's why it faded a little bit, but it still didn't fade a lot, and it's just wearing away very nicely, if at all. I really feel like it's lasted really well for 12 hours. I'm doing a random check-in today, even though I didn't show it earlier. I used a sponge to apply the foundation this morning, and I have my Smashbox light primer over here and the Hourglass primer over here. It's held up really nicely today. I think I look tired, but that has nothing to do with the foundation. It's been over 9 hours. I only blotted and touched up twice today, and it's not settling into my fine lines. It hasn't faded, I don't think. My blush is still on. I didn't wear highlighter or anything today. I feel like it's worn really well. I did one light layer. I didn't go for medium to full coverage. I went for more light to medium coverage, and I feel like I got it. It lasted. It looks good. I started this foundation road test at the beginning of February. So the beginning and the application was filmed at the beginning of February, and then my check-ins were done throughout February. I just had other videos that I ended up putting up before I ended up doing the summary, which is actually being done this week. So I had to actually review the claims and what they say about this foundation. I've done a lot more wearing of this foundation than the check-ins. As usual, I only usually show a few check-ins because it would just make the video too long if I did every single check-in that I did. We've covered the shades and the shade range. I definitely think that if you are my shade in Maybelline Matte and Poreless, you definitely need to go down a shade. It does tend to oxidize a bit. That is something that I don't like about this foundation. I do like it when brands stay consistent from foundation to foundation. I am in 128 in Maybelline Matte and Poreless. I'm in 120 in this foundation. I do have that shade. It's what I have on now. I think it's a great match. I ended up switching over to that shade while I was testing this out and wearing this throughout February and March, and it does work really well for my shade. I love how easily this applies. This is one of the only long wearing foundations that I actually enjoy applying with a brush or a sponge. I can apply this either way. It's really nice. It's a very lightweight foundation, even though it's long lasting. Sometimes it's a hard thing to achieve. Long wearing foundations can feel kind of heavy, especially if you have oily combination skin like I do. Sometimes you start to feel your oils break through as the day goes on, and it starts to feel kind of gunky, if you know what I mean. This one doesn't. It does stay feeling fresh, even as you do get a little bit oily, and I'll talk about that in a minute. I do feel like every day I wore it, my makeup looked really good at the end of the day. I don't feel like I had fading of any of the color cosmetics I had on top of the makeup. I like the finish. It's a nice demi matte finish on my skin. I feel like a lot of times when you get long wearing foundations, they tend to be matte foundations, and I think that's what I was expecting from this. It's not matte, and it's not really super full coverage if you don't want it to be. I found that it was more medium full coverage sometimes, but I could build it where I needed it. I don't have concealer on today, and I did just use it as my concealer on my sunspots and places where I needed it, and it's absolutely fine. I like that I can get coverage from it, and it still looks natural enough to where I can wear it on a day-to-day basis. I don't feel like I'm wearing a mask or that it looks too heavy that I can't wear it during the day. I don't feel like I have to reserve it for special occasions, but I can wear it on special occasions and it still will look nice. I'm someone who really likes the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless, so that was where I was wondering how this would fit in. I feel like the Matte and Poreless gives a little bit more of a medium coverage, a solid medium coverage, and it probably does control shine a little bit more, a little bit longer throughout the day. Not that I get super shiny with this, and you saw in the clip that even when I did get shiny, my face didn't look bad. And I feel like because of that, this one might be more appropriate for more skin types. It might not be just for oily combination skin. Maybe normal and dry skin people could benefit from this foundation too. I cannot promise that because I don't have normal and dry skin, but I don't feel like it was hard to apply around my hairline or that it got caught up on places where I tend to get a little bit dry around my hairline. So it might be something to consider if you're looking for a long-wearing daily foundation, no matter what skin type you are. But it does have a little bit more coverage than the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless, and I do feel like the Maybelline Matte and Poreless might give a slightly more airbrushed finish to the skin, even though this one looked really good on the skin too. I do feel like as the day goes on that the pores that looked so great at the beginning of the day just looked normal at the end of the day. There's not anything wrong with that. We all have pores, but I do feel like the Maybelline Matte and Poreless maybe looks a little bit better in terms of pores as the day goes on. I don't think this necessarily settles into pores as the day goes on. It just looks normal. I do intend to keep using this foundation. I think it's a great price point for a long-wearing foundation. It's a great option from the drugstore. I like this foundation. I do feel like it makes my skin look good, and it does last a long time. If you're someone that has really long days and you want a foundation that is gonna last through those days, give this a try. And that is this foundation road test. I hope you enjoyed it. I've had several of you ask me how my blind foundation testing is going. I'm still doing that. If you're not familiar with that, I'm gonna link that video at the end of this video and down in the description box. It's a lot of fun. It's way more interesting than I thought it was gonna be. I'm not quite sure when I'm gonna have my first video up because I am categorizing things a little bit differently than I thought I was going to, but I will keep you guys updated, and I do let you know how things are going on my social media, on Snapchat and Instagram stories and things like that. So I'll have those social media links up on the screen and down below so you can follow me over there and get updates on my life and things like that. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.